Hey, welcome. So this is the third video in a series on buying a home. So in the first video, I talked about pre-approval as opposed to pre-qualified. The second video, I talked about the importance of you identifying what's important in a home. So now this is the third step. You want to make an offer. You want to prepare a contract. Well, what goes in a contract? What are the essential elements in a contract? Stick around. That's what we're talking about today. Hi, welcome back. My name is Joe Brown. I'm a realtor with Century 21, list with Beggins here in South Tampa. So this is the third video in a series on buying a home. In the first video, I talked about the pre-approval process. And I had a great interview with Dave Donaldson, who is a mortgage banker in Tampa, and he talked about that pre-approval process. In the second video, I talked about the importance of identifying the elements that are important to you in a home. So in this third video, I'm going to assume that you're pre-approved and you've identified what's important and you found a house and you want to put a contract on that house, right? Well, let me give you a quick lesson on contracts, okay? So let's say I'm driving down the street and I see your house is for sale. Now I stop and say, hey, I'll buy your house for $300,000. And you agree. I said, great, let's meet at the bank or the title company or wherever. September 1st, 9 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock, I don't show up. 9:30, I'm not there. 10, 10:15, 10:45, 11:30, I'm not there. You know what? Just because I say I'm going to buy your house doesn't mean I'm going to buy your house. That's the importance of a contract. The contract binds both parties. It binds me to actually buy your house, but it also binds you to actually sell your house. And there are consequences built into the contract if either one of us defaults on that. So when you work with your realtor to prepare a contract, there are 5 important elements that can be negotiated. Element number 1 is price. Now, this is important because it should be in your pre-approved range, because you also don't want to overpay for a house. And so hopefully your realtor prepared a CMA so you know that the price is fair. Element number 2 are the terms. How are you going to buy a house? Are you going to pay cash for it? Are you going to get a loan? And if you get a loan, what type of loan? Is it a VA, FHA? Is it fixed rate, adjustable rate? All that is built into the contract. Item number 3 are the dates. When do you want to close? When do you want to take possession of the house? Now, I'll tell you right now, as I'm filming this, we're still under the pandemic. So we are telling buyers to plan 45 to 60 days out. So even if you buy a house, you're looking at almost 2 months before close. Item number 4 are inclusions and exclusions. Now this is important and it's often overlooked. So let's say the seller loves the refrigerator. So the seller plans to take the refrigerator with them. Well, you may not know that until you move in and there's no refrigerator. So it has to be in the contract what is included or excluded. So you as the buyer can say, I want to buy the house and I want the refrigerator included or the washer and dryer, right? Those items are negotiated. Do not think that just because you walk through the house and you see these items, that they'll be at the house when you move in. If it's not in the contract, don't expect them to be there when you move in, okay? Then item number 5, and this is huge, are contingencies. Now, there can be many contingencies, but there are 3 major ones that you need to consider. Contingency number 1 is the loan financing. Now, if you've gone through the pre-approval process, this may not be a major point. However, there have been cases where people have applied for financing and have not been able to get the financing that they wanted or needed. And at that point, that gives you, the buyer, the right to back out of the contract. And it's because of this that realtors started requiring buyers to get pre-approval, right? So we wouldn't have contracts go by the wayside. The second contingency is the home inspection. Now, this is important because it gives you, the buyer, the right, again, within a time frame, 10 days, 15 days, to send an inspector in, a licensed inspector, to look at the house. And it gives you the right to back out of the contract if issues are found that you don't want to deal with. So let's say you find a house that meets 90% of your expectations, and the home inspector comes and says, the house needs a new roof. Well, you have 4 options. Can you believe that? 4 options. So option number 1, you can back out of the deal, right? Option number 2 is you can go to the seller and say, hey, seller, we want you to replace the roof before we close. Option number 3 is you can renegotiate the price of the house, taking into consideration the price of the roof. Or option number 4, you can just go through closing as planned, and then you can pay for the new roof at your own expense. Right? Those are the 4 options. And then the third contingency, so first is the loan, second home inspection. The third contingency is the appraisal contingency. The appraisal would be ordered by the mortgage lender, because the mortgage lender does not want to loan more for the house than what the house is worth. And so if the value comes back at a lower price, you then have 3 options, right? So number 1, if the appraisal value comes back below the sales price, you could pay the difference. That's what my daughter did when she bought her house. The appraisal came back lower, but she just paid the difference. Option number 2, you could renegotiate the sales price of the house based on the appraisal. And option number 3, you could back out of the contract, right? That's why these contingencies are so important, because they protect you, the buyer. Now, here's something extremely important about contingencies. Contingencies do not exist unless they are expressly spelled out in the contract, okay? If the contract does not say these contingencies are included, then they don't exist. So just a quick recap, right? So number 1, the contract is important because it binds both parties to buy or sell the house. There are 5 elements to negotiate: price, terms, dates, inclusions and exclusions, and contingencies. So listen, when buying a home, it's easy to focus on the stressors, right? Let me tell you, from my perspective, buying a home is supposed to be a fun and exciting time. So it's really what you focus on as to what the experience is going to be like. So I thank you so much for spending time with me today. I gave you a lot of information. Hopefully it was useful, but it was a lot of information. So I've created an infographic where I summarize this, and a link to that infographic is in the show notes below. Also, my contact information is in the show notes below. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions about the process, if you're looking for a home, or you just need some advice in buying or selling a home. Remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the videos. So as mentioned, I did a series of videos on buying a home. This was the 3rd video on selling a home. I have not done a field trip lately, so I think a field trip video may be coming up. I'm also going on site to a new development in South Tampa, and I'm excited to share that with you. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Be sure to visit me at my website, joebrownc21.com. Send me an email. Let me know how you like my show. I enjoy sharing this information with you. I get stoked about sharing this information with you because South Tampa living is awesome.